Carry on with just us three, yeah?
Yeah.
So, don't worry too much about the dramatic RP of whoever your buddy is. I was saying with the high school kids, what we tend to do is just make them like invisible for the purposes of while they're there. But because of the group and because you're adults, it's kind of nice to give you the option of using that character's abilities and things. And it gives you a meat shield to put in front because they're not there to not do it.
Would we do that?
So, last time we gathered, you had gone to the village of Altamira and you had been requested by both Lord Skipwith, the mayor, and Nicholas Selwyn, the local wizard headmaster, to go out and deal with the giant spiders that had been roaming the area and whisking off the local population. You had indeed gone out after a promise of a fairly substantial gold reward had been made, and also the chance to maybe grab yourselves a magical item, which was about the only thing that persuaded you from the wizard that it was worth trying to capture one of the spiders alive. You had also been given 2 students who may or may not have been directly responsible for the outbreak occurring, but who were most definitely extremely hungover. Accompany you with the wagon to take the spider back, one of which has done a runner in the woods, and you are left with a half-orc girl who is very quiet, very stubborn, and very scared. You had come across and dealt with a little bit of one of the spiders. I believe you'd had a brief encounter with 2 spiders and a giant owl, which you had just met as it was devouring into a dead spider carcass, and that was where we left it. You were just at the moment of backing away quietly rather than interrupting lunch or breakfast, as it would have been for the owl. So the hour is not too late. You're kind of moving into late afternoon by now, kind of 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. Because you're in such a thick, dark wood, it does feel later, but it's not quite nighttime yet. You were following the track to try and find either where the source of the outbreak was coming from, which you may or may not have in your notes if you were taking them down. What would you like to do?
Erevan would like a short rest because he's used up all his spell slots. If possible, if everybody else agrees.
Well, we could. I don't feel we've been going very far for very long, but
Well, whatever the majority decide, I'll go along with.
Aye.
I mean, I don't think of myself as a super squishy wizard. I think of myself slightly differently from maybe what most wizards think.
I suppose we could stop for some raspberry tarts.
Mushroom
Are
pie.
you gonna stop at the track where you were, just off from the owl, or are you going to move away from it?
We should probably move along a wee bit.
We could eat our picnic watching him eat his.
Because from the track, all you could see of him was his or her eyes glowing, which is what you'd noticed in the first place.
I'd rather not sit right next to it. Maybe just find a wee lay-by just a bit further on.
It might want second course.
That's it.
Half-orc girl, stand here.
Her name's Niga.
Right. Niga, you just stand in this little clearing, nice and visible. We're just going to move off in the other direction a little bit. Okay?
You're not going to go far.
Oh no, not far at all. No.
She holds on really, really tightly to the horse.
Oh,
No, we can't leave her behind. Just move the cart a bit further down. That's all we need to do.
right. We had a spider harness net thing sort of made up for us, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I presume it's back on the cart again. Cool. Oh well, I suppose I better move off then, eh?
Yeah, we'll just go like 100 yards down the road and then stop for lunch.
I think it was Damadeus that had hold the webbing harness out, so he pulls it back onto the cart. What will be your order moving back forwards?
Well, I'll go up with Eridan, seeing as we're both the fighty soldier people.
I'll be close behind.
Are we going 2x2?
Yeah.
Adventurers went in 2 by 2.
So you're pretty much sticking with the order you've had then.
Yeah.
Keep them out kind of on the cart, maybe.
So you go slightly more than a couple of 100 feet. You probably spend about 15 minutes just walking. It's really quite thick and brambled. The track has obviously not been particularly heavily traversed recently. Duran, do you want to roll an investigation check for me? Assuming you're looking to keep an eye out for somewhere reasonable to...
Yeah. Can do that. 7.
Okay. You find a bit where you think the trees seem to be thinning a little bit less. There's enough space that you can pull the wagon, and you don't think that there's any directly overhanging trees. Zilla and Erevan kind of look at it and think this is an absolutely terrible spot, but beggars can't be choosers. There's definitely brush and foliage right up to within about 5 feet of you. If anything really wanted to sneak up, it would have a very good chance at sneaking up. But it is the first place that isn't just rocks and completely overgrown. Would you like to stick with Eridan's recommendation?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, needs must. Amadius, I'm sure, will be fine. He's going to be quite happy sitting on the back of the cart, keeping an eye out. I would think slightly elevated, maybe get a better view.
Yeah, we'll just have to be more vigilant if we're going to be in a rubbish place.
Well, you're planning on a short rest, yeah?
Yeah, just a lunch break.
Just
That's
clean
fine.
up weapons and stuff after the gruesome mini battle.
Eat some pie,
Do a little bit of meditation. Get
pastries, maybe.
the magical power back.
The dice gods dictate that you get your short rest in complete and total silence and peace.
Yay.
The only thing that's slightly unnerving about it is the fact that you're in the middle of the woods and there is complete and total silence. It is still very unnerving. For those of you that are used to the woodland sounds and the small creatures and the boughs kind of squeaking and moving in the wind, there seems to be very little actually happening. Everything is a little bit muted and a little bit less natural feeling. Is there anything you would like to do before you continue?
I'd like to get an eraser.
What was in the Arnold Schwarzenegger film?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yes,
No worries.
The technology is not quite there yet, is it?
It's getting there though with 3D printers. It won't be long before I just put one in my side and it'll make the equivalent. It's like replicators are happening.
Yeah.
I love it.
See, they're experimenting with food printers.
Steve,
Yeah.
can you hand me the eraser again? Cheers.
No worries.
I got one too.
You can keep that one.
It's duplication.
Okay. I have
So-
devoured my mushroom pie.
You've devoured a mushroom pie. You have sat in eerie silence.
And it's very
Niga the
good.
Half-Orc has not spoken much. She's basically stayed as quiet, and for a half-orc teen, she's still pretty big by human standards. But she is definitely trying to make herself seem as small and inconspicuous as possible. She is not happy. But neither is the horse. The pair of them are just basically mildly fidgety, but quite happy to do what they're told insofar as they hope to get out alive.
Can I, as a woodland dweller, make a check of some kind and see if I can determine what exactly is odd, what's off about this place?
Sure. Make a nature check.
Cool. 20.
You know for a fact that in the average wood, life is everywhere. But because of whatever magic has been unleashed in this surroundings, not only have a lot of the animals grown larger, even looking around from where you are, there are things like woodlice that are actually about that big rather than being their usual couple of millimeters side, but they are not moving. They are just literally flat. They're not dead, but they're not moving. Whatever has been sort of, it's not quite like it's in paralysis, but that's the effect. There's a definite sophomoric effect that's been happening on all the creatures that have been in this area. So while there would normally be birds flying, there would normally be beetles and things scurrying, none of that is happening. the spiders themselves, the webs that you've been seeing, they are definitely not from natural spiders, which you would gathered anyway. The giant spiders you've seen are not generally known to be getting that big in these areas. So you know that it's magic cause. You would suspect that it might be localized to this area because there was none of that when you were traveling. So it's definitely something that's impacted this area, which means there will be a line somewhere where things go back to normal, but you don't know where that is at the moment because you're still investigating and you're definitely within the perimeter. It's not that things are unnaturally creepy, it's just that nothing's moving.
Yeah. Okay. So we've been sitting here kind of in this quiet, digesting this and thinking how odd things are. So we need to find maybe a trail or some signs of passage, see if we can get to the epicenter of this weirdness. Anybody got any ideas?
Ideas aren't my strong point.
I'm sure my gnomish wood dweller companion would be full of ideas.
You would think. Just don't ask me to do a nature check.
Right.
That's the problem with these nature characters. They don't have much in the way of
Intelligence.
nature abilities here.
I mean, I could try and look down and see for tracks, maybe, like, or sort of unusual tracks, certainly, to what I'm used to seeing in woodlands, but.
What about survival? How's that for you?
Brilliant.
Character-wise? Go for that then. Why not?
Oh, wow. Natural 20. Look, thanks, James. I don't know if you can see it. It's the
Is that
one
your
you gave
Christmas
me.
ones?
Yeah.
The purple ones.
Yes. With the symbol. It's 20.
The path you've been following has been kind of just weaving roughly towards the northeast, which was the direction you'd been told to travel in anyway. And it has definitely been getting thicker with webs. There's definitely more. You've encountered spiders now that are quite happy. They're not actually attacking townsfolk. They're just eating the other wildlife. So you suspect you're heading in the right direction, and all you need to do is actually just keep following. You could strike off and maybe cut off a little bit of time, but you wouldn't be able to take the horse if you tried.
No, I don't see the point in that. I'll just advise to keep on going the way we're going.
Because while it's not direct, the path is just kind of weaving around that.
We need the cart.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a waste of a natural, but sorry.
So
No,
onwards
not at all.
upwards.
I'm thinking that our objective to capture a spider, it might be good to do that last. Because the last thing you want is a screaming spider tied up in the back of your wagon with a forest full of giant spiders listening out for other giant spiders calling them. It might not end prettily.
How do you know
What?
How do you know when it's
I did not make that either.
Do you know that you're facing one?
How do you know when you're facing the last giant spider?
Yeah.
Well, not the last one, but I'm saying near the end of the trip.
There could be only one.
There must only be 20 odd.
And you realise it's the last one once you've killed it.
Yeah, I would to get that part over with, and then Selwyn can find out more when we get it back to him. Maybe that will give us an advantage in wiping the others out.
Yeah, we're never going to know if it's the last one. It's going to make a noise.
You remember from your conversation with him that while the cause for the impact was worsened by him trying to create a cure and his students releasing it before it was ready, the infestation wasn't theirs that they started. They don't know how long it's been running on. Just it's been coming through summer, and they're not sure if it will ever stop or if it'll just keep going. So you have no clue when you'll get to the last giant spider, or if there will be a last giant spider. They might just keep indefinitely coming. You know without about where they're coming from, which is what you're doing now.
Well, okay. Let's compromise. Let's find the things first, then talk about it.
Yeah, let's just keep going.
Yeah, cross that bridge.
Okay. If we come across a solo one that's easy to grab, then we'll just go for it.
Yeah.
So, are you changing the order or keeping the same?
Keeping the same, I would imagine.
Oh, just carry on as. Yeah.
Okay. I would say you keep going on. Same order. Niga is no longer particularly hungover. The fear has definitely helped wear away the hangover, and she is wide awake now, and very, very cautious with her steps, to the point where she's really dragging you. If you didn't have so many short people in your party, you would be getting annoyed at the fact that she's only walking about maybe 20 feet every time she's going, because she's perfectly capable of doing 30, but she's not in a hurry to get there. As you are weaving your way through, you're now getting to the point where every so often you're having to clear webs off the track to keep moving. You hear this absolutely vicious sounding scream. It is blood curdling and chilling, and as soon as it happens, Niga and the horse just freeze, full stop. It doesn't sound like it was too far away from you, but it was loud and really shattered the silence.
Excellent.
Hey. Demadius would probably have good perception. Well, I suppose we'd all look around and see if we can see anything.
I would like everyone to roll a perception check then, because you're not actively investigating yet. This is just a response to a noise.
21.
Demadius is 13, and every man is 1.
Dron rolling 19 and Erdan rolled. Oh, he hasn't got any of his bonuses written on. 18.
Interestingly enough, what most of you recognize instantly, although you are not the most experienced of adventuring parties, you know the sound of a fight when you hear one. And while you don't know what's caused the sound, there is definitely the sound of harm being inflicted. And it only sounds like maybe about 50, 60 feet up and round, just as the track is bending to the right. So it wouldn't be too difficult to go and find out what is creating the noise.
Oh.
I'd say we go fast.
Yep,
Yeah, I know a battle when I hear one.
I'm with you.
Come, Eridan.
Right.
Alright.
Niga
Make sure
and
the orc moves.
I was going to say Niga and the cart are not going anywhere unless somebody
Yeah.
persuades them.
Yeah, you stay here and guard the cart.
Should be gone with the cards.
Stay here.
Demarius was with them. Do you want him to try and persuade, or do you want them to stay still?
Madius has got quite good intimidation, so he might want to kind of suggest that they stay put, but put a little edge in his voice at the same time.
Okay, roll intimidation then. With advantage.
Okay. 15.
Yeah, she's rooted to the spot. Unless something physically comes, he knows that she's not going to go anywhere. He's about 80-90% certain that he could walk away and she'd still be there tomorrow, just gripping.
They'll be like heading off with the party, but also kind of like.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we better make haste. We better dash towards where this scream came from.
It could be our halfling friend gotten a bit stooshy.
Yeah.
Right, Drun and Eridan, what are what's your traveling speed?
Well, I am really little, so I'm just 25.
Like,
I think Eridan's is normal.
30. He's
Yes.
human enough. So.
Yeah, he hasn't written it down, but I'm pretty sure he's he's a human, so it's just be 30. So
Yeah, if you're dashing, you would get to where the track starts bending easily enough. So as you're all kind of running round, there's not too much in it. You're not exactly stretched out and strung back.
Mhm.
But when you come around the corner, my phone is locked up. I will show you what you see.
I was going to say, unless you're Robert McAllister, you've got a cammy leg, maybe it would be 25.
I'll get there. It's funny because we never see him anymore.
I'd be worried if I did.
You see this huge, hairy, nasty-looking beast as it's tearing into a spider, a giant spider that has obviously been attacking it. As you come round the corner, you see it literally biting into the abdomen of the spider. It's already taken down at least 2 other giant spiders that are curled up with their legs across it.
Hey, they're my spiders.
Yeah, well,
Oh, lovely.
you can discuss it with him. I'm heading back to the wagon.
Is this thing looking like it's going to come at us? Has it seen us come?
I am not sure what check I would get you to do for that one.
Insight?
Yeah, go for it. Go for an insight check.
I'm not very insightful. It was a 1.
You have no clue. What I will say is that it's not exactly off the path, so at some point you're going to have to walk near it or past it.
Aye. But, yeah, okay. But so as far as we're aware, it hasn't spotted us yet.
At the moment, it's too busy with the spider.
Right.
How big is it? How tall is it?
The thing itself it's not massive. It would be big compared with certainly your halflings and gnomes. You're talking about equal with the giant spiders. So you're somewhere between 5 and 10 feet in like size. And it's just dripping with blood and gore from where it's been attacking the spiders. But equally, it's also got gashes, and it seems to be injured from the fight that it's had. It's not moving quite as freely as you'd think it would. Something that size would do.
Okay. So we've got to deal with this thing one way or another.
If you were going to categorize it, say roughly, it would be considered a large monstrosity.
Delightful.
How far away is it, roughly?
From where you are now, it's only about 20, 30 feet.
All right, okay.
Before you go rushing in, Ron, let's think. We don't need to attack us. We can just go around it. It's not doing us any harm.
Yet.
Yeah.
Look, it's a big, mangy, slobbery beast with big teeth. It's going to go for us, mate.
Well, right, but then it's also dealing with the spiders that we're being paid to deal with.
Yeah. You want one left alive, don't you?
So personally, speaking as Aeroplan, I'm not keen on going out of the way to attack it if it's not posing any immediate threat to me.
But what if we let it go and in a couple of weeks' time it goes and ravages the villagers?
Well, suppose that's possible.
Prudent thing to do if you see a threat is eliminate it. I learned that in the war the hard way.
Which war?
I can't remember.
Can't remember.
I just remember there was a war. Yeah.
The fight is continuing, but it seems like the beast has the upper hand on the spider.
I think we'll wait until it's over, and then we'll take it while it's weak.
Let's see.
Can we all just try and hide and ambush it?
Okay. I have another suggestion. Rather than having to fight it and defeat it, why don't we scare it away?
You can certainly try.
Okay. Can I... No, I don't really have anything to do that. But we could just run at it and, shout and bang our weapons together and stuff like that.
Whatever you're doing, I would suggest you do it fairly quickly, because the beast has definitely got the upper hand, and the spider's looking extremely on its last legs.
I'd like to cast the cantrip Shalila, if that's how you say it.
Shillelagh, but yeah.
Shillelagh, yeah.
Right.
What does that do?
Turns my quarterstaff into like a magical weapon. It just gives it becomes a D8 damage instead of a D6.
Well, as all of my compatriots seem to be gearing up for a fight, I suppose I'd better get an arrow on my longbow ready. And if we are going to engage it, the first thing I'm going to do is hold life. But that's
Okay.
if we engage.
Well, I'm not going to attack it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to attack us. So I'm going to stand and wait and see what it does after it's finished off ill spider. But I'll be ready.
We can try and like hide to the side of the path just to see if it takes off. Okay.
Can do, but I'm pretty sure if it's not smelt us by now, if we're only 30 feet away, it's going to smell us pretty quickly otherwise. Or we can try.
I'll just sidestep and disappear then.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll try and crouch down on the side.
There is plenty of foliage and trees and just generic woodland to try and hide. Plus, with the frequent spider webs, there's not huge, clear paths to look. If you're going to attempt to hide, then please roll for me.
Oh dear.
Natural 20 again. James, I love your dice.
Wow.
Zilla just disappears. She was there a second ago, muttering to herself, and then she's just gone.
This is a puff of imagination.
Right,
Be the
Erevan,
bush. Feel the bush. I am the bush.
You're the mighty bush. Yeah.
Erevan gets an 8, and
Erevan got-
Demadius gets a 18.
Drawn rolled a 16, but Eridan rolled a 4.
So, as everybody kind of splits to the side, just tell me left or right which side you're hiding on.
Left.
I would imagine we would all have gone to the same side, so we'll just go left then.
To the left, to the left. All the adventurers to the bush in the left.
You all hide as best as you can. Some of you are definitely a lot better at this than others. But as you are making your way, you can still see the track. You can still see the beast. It has now got to the point where the beast has ripped off at least 3 of the giant spider's legs, and it seems to be going in for the final blow. As it does so, the spider itself releases this kind of high-pitched squeal, which you have never heard before, but it sounds nasty. Kind of like a really loud, large echoing. If you've ever heard a balloon where the air has been squeaked out, it's like that, but on a much massive scale, and it goes right through you.
Runs like, called it.
Okay, seeing that.
Panting over its prey, it starts to lick its wounds. As it does so, it stops. And it starts, you can see its ears prick up and start swiveling just slightly.
Does Eridan's lunch come back up on him?
For something that has just been in a fight, it moves surprisingly fast. And although it's not at full pelt, it covers the distance between him and Eridan remarkably quickly and goes to pounce on him. His attempt at hiding had made far too much noise, and he attacks for...
It's
what's his armor class?
17.
Okay, it bites down, but the armor protects him and does no damage. He's very lucky.
While that was happening, would I have been able to cast False Life in preparation?
You'd already done it, so it was fine.
I need to
Right.
roll hit points then.
Okay.
So I get
Sorry.
an extra 5 temporary hit points. Yay, good.
Seeing it go for Eridan, I'll just leap out the bushes and charge.
You might get advantage, maybe. You were hit.
Well, I'm not sure if we need to roll initiative yet or not.
You will do, because it is not a surprise.
Yeah.
But it is slightly preoccupied, so you may do better than it. Go for it.
Right.
So Eridan rolled a 14. Drun also rolled a 14.
I got 10.
10. And Damadius gets 17.
Okay. Because the warg has already preoccupied itself, Demarius gets a nice good first hit in, so he gets to go first.
Excellent. And he will, first of all, loose an arrow at it with his short bow.
Okay.
5, 6, oh great, 8.
There's so many of you around that he's just a bit worried he's going to hit somebody, and those nerves make him just aim too far, so it skites off, and that arrow's lost into the trees.
Typical human.
Drum.
Yeah. No holds barred. Gonna go charging in and thwonk it with my great axe, Geraldine.
Okay.
Come on, Geraldine. Oh, that's 17.
17 hits.
That's what I'm talking about. Twelve. Slashing damage.
That was a really solid blow, man. But it is still standing. You can't tell what was already injured or not, but you definitely get that satisfying crunch.
Church notebook about.
It'd be my rucksack.
Okay, and it is Eridan next.
One, who? Who's next?
Eridan.
Eridan.
Sorry, I'm just talking with the missus.
Kev's not there.
No, he's not there. He's checking out.
Rude.
I know.
Did you compliment Sophie? Like I told you to.
Sophie, you look lovely.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Wales is suiting you, definitely.
Happy to be
Wales.
here today.
Wales.
I said Wales.
I said Wales. Your Wales and your Wales don't choose an alibi.
Oh, never mind, it's fine. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
The man so smooth, it's easy to see why Claire fell for you, James.
I know. She just couldn't help it. Yeah, so Eridan's going to attack back with his long sword of hurt.
Okay.
If I can read his. He's going to do it two-handed because he doesn't have his shield. Oh no, 8.
he charges in, but barely does any damage to it. It seems to be so enraged that it just doesn't seem to care that he's even there.
Was it not him that it attacked?
It had been.
Yeah, that's right. That's fine.
And the warg now goes to bite down on him again. Oh man, I've got to get different dice. Which is a 12, which does not do anything.
No.
So he is very lucky. 2 attacks and it's not done him anything. But I would like him to roll a strength save for me, please.
So he's proficient at that. So 15.
Yeah. The weight of the creature trying to snarl and snap as its jaws keep trying to close down and bite on him. It's a heavy beast and it is pushing down on him, but he seems to have the strength just now to keep himself upright. Zilla, it is your go.
Save the nose blowing for someone else's turn. Not me. I'm going to try and hit it with my quarterstaff.
Okay. Well, you've got your shillelagh out at the moment, so they would be that.
You don't want to say that in public.
Oh, that was rubbish. 7.
Yeah. It's so big that you don't even know if you got through its fur when you swung with. Which brings us to Erevan.
Who is going to line up very carefully with his longbow and try and shoot between his friends and hit the creature.
How far away are you? Because you were all clumped together.
Probably about 20 feet or so, I would think.
Okay. You would probably have to move back 10 or so feet to not disadvantage.
Okay, that's fine. I've got movement to do that, so I'll position myself so that I've got enough distance for a full draw, and then loose. 12.
It's a good shot, and it flies true, but the beast just seems to shrug it off. I don't know if it didn't get through, or if it just got deflected at the last second with all of the thrashing around it's doing as it tries to eat Erevan. But it didn't seem to do much to it.
Yeah.
Demadius.
Demadius is going to do the same as before, reposition himself again to try and get a shot, and quickly knock another arrow into the short bow and loose.
He would get advantage now that there are so many things attacking.
Excellent. So 20.
It's a good hit.
And now if he has... No, it's okay. Ooh, excellent. Maximum 9 points.
Ooh. The arrow lets loose and sticks right in the side of the beast's neck, and the blood starts gushing out of it. It was still there, and it's still standing, and it is still snarling and fizzing mad. But that did some serious damage to it. It does not look like it would take much to finish it off, which leads us to Drun in his bloodlust.
Yeah, I haven't raised yet, but I'm getting close. Seeing how it's pummeling on my new friend, but we'll we'll keep it together just for now, and again we'll swing in with Geraldine.
Okay.
Is this just a regular attack? Yeah.
Well, you'd still get advantage because there's plenty of other people in.
Oh, sweet. Doesn't matter. Yeah,
And
so
it's
it's 20. It's 24.
Oh,
Yep.
I should take an advantage.
You should have actually. I apologize. I should have given you advantage.
And then 9 damage.
Geraldine finishes the beast off. You were already starting material spray from the arrow wound, and as Geraldine swings in, it just takes enough of a chunk out of the beast's neck that you see its head just kind of like swing round with the force of the blow, and the wound just opens up, and within about 2.5 seconds, it finishes bleeding out. The thing was already on its last legs, and you just absolutely nailed it. You guys are so lucky it didn't get any good hits in. But it is down and dead.
Anybody want some wolf steak? Start twirling my axe over my head like it doesn't weigh anything.
I want to see if it's wearing a collar and what its name is.
Roll an intelligence check.
Okay, that should be good for me. Fingers crossed. 8. These are not working tonight.
It kind of looks like it might have been a wolf or a dog or some sort of family like that. You've definitely seen something like this around, but not for a long, long time.
It's a puppy. It's just misunderstood.
I'm gonna get more dice.
Excellent.
You are out of combat. What would you like to do?
Say a quick prayer of thanks to Morden the Allfather.
Good.
And then clean off Geraldine on the grass.
You wipe Geraldine, and it's not quite looking as pristine as when you commonly spent hours buffing it up to a nice gleaming dull shine. But
It'll do in a pinch.
It'll do.
And then along the shaft, I'll just add a little extra knock, well, 2 knocks, because I forgot to do one with the spider earlier.
Okay.
To accompany the many knocks already on this shaft.
So you're still stood off the path around the corpse of this dead beast.
Yeah, and then I'll we should probably make our way back to the wagon.
Damagius wants to reclaim his arrow.
Sorry, Erevan, didn't hear you.
No, Damagius, he wants to reclaim his arrow.
Absolutely. The first one that he let loose is long gone, but this one's not an issue. Roll a d6 and don't get 1.
1.
He pulls it out too much force, and you could probably use it, but it might be a little bit suspect. It's so covered in ichor that it might not.
It's actually hanging off.
So you can add it back in, but it's a suspect.
Yeah. Cool. Erevan lost one of his arrows, so that's okay.
Yeah.
With the combat over, my false life spell will end. It only lasts for 10 minutes. So those temporary hit points will dissolve away into the magical ether.
Unless you sprint and try and get to the next encounter quickly.
Yeah.
If there is one.
Run around in circles waiting for a random encounter.
We've all done that grind. Okay, so I'm assuming at some point somebody wants to go back for Niga and the cart.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we're not stayed. We're not. I did say that, but yeah, we're not
Well,
stayed too
it's a
long.
bit of a loose term, but you know.
When you make your way back, you are fairly certain that not only has she not moved, but she is absolutely rooted to the spot. The sounds of the screaming and the fighting have absolutely terrified her. You're not quite sure, but there is a slight smell to the air now that wasn't here when you left.
See, she starts walking funny.
Erevan is going to find some excuse to walk up beside her really closely, and just as he goes past, just kind of whisper in her ear, "I hope you're thinking about what you've done."
She doesn't acknowledge it, but you see her flinch a little bit when you start whispering. Y'all are mean. Right, what do you want to do?
We want to get back on the trail and find our way to the cause of all this weirdness.
Yes, keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Back on the trail.
Back on the trail.
Same formation.
Formation. I like it. Military.
Been playing a lot of strategy games.
Just out of curiosity, would the giant spiders have enough space inside their bodies to stuff a gnome into?
The giant spiders, easily you could try and fit a gnome inside.
Why? What did I do?
No, I'm just thinking, tricks. and jolly japes.
I think I'd be very uncomfortable with that.
It's like a little sleeping bag with 8 legs.
Okay, too much.
Too much, too soon.
Thought they smelt bad on the outside.
Yeah. I get that quote.
So, as you continue to move, you travel probably about another hour, and as you do, the path is getting thicker and thicker with webs. I would like the front 2 people to make perception checks for me, please.
That'll be me and the other dude.
Damn it, I'm not fun.
14 for Eridan. 13, sorry, for me.
You've been feeling fairly pleased with yourselves because so far everything that has come your way you've dispatched pretty quickly and without injury. And as you're kind of just saying that whatever this thing is, these townspeople are obviously giving you easy money, you both walk round a corner and just get cobweb right in the face. Both of you are now completely restrained and immobile.
Oof.
Do we?
Oh.
Follow?
Can I shout out a warning to the guys behind us?
I will let you shout, but it won't be like a large, eloquent.
It's never going to be eloquent as a dwarf.
With amnesia.
I take it there's these giant sticky cobwebs completely across the path then.
Yep.
Any signs of spiders?
Funny you should mention that. I would like you all to roll initiative.
Right. Let's see. Do it better. Yay! 21. New dice.
19 for Drun and 13 for Eridan.
I got 13 as well.
Hang on. John was 19. Eridan was what?
13.
And Zilla was 13.
Yeah.
All right.
Amadeus is 16.
Okay. What you see as you come around the corner, other than the human and the dwarf completely immobile, full like stone, and they're about a foot into this like really thick, nasty looking cobweb, which isn't just strung up, it is literally almost like a cone going from both sides, trees on both sides of the path, deep down in. Not too far away from them, you can see a giant spider biting the head off what must have been a deer at some point, but it is so wrapped up in webs that you cannot really tell. It's only the antlers that really give away the fact there was some form of elk or deer or creature along those lines. As you come around the corner, it senses that something has triggered its web, so you have 1 round to try and do something before it attacks you.
Okay.
This is not a surprise attack, merely the fact that it was busy eating lunch.
I presume it's Erevan first, is it? Or
It would be Erevan first, but he is completely immobilized, so would have to roll a strength check.
Do you mean Eridan?
Yes.
He was up front with me.
Well, oh, Eridan was stuck. Sorry, yeah. So Erevan would be first. You got the 21, didn't you?
I could see Anthony's confusion.
It's gonna do my head in.
Can we give him a nickname? Because seeing as he's not here.
I can't give you a nickname. That's not my job as DM.
no. Well, look. The first thing I'm gonna do as Erevan is no, he can't do that. How far away is the spider?
It's about 20 feet away at the moment.
Okay. I will cast a spell. I will cast... Oh no, I can't. I've got no spell slots. Oh. Knock an arrow and loose an arrow at it.
Okay.
Ha! 23. I like
Your
these.
arrow flies through the webbing as if it's not there, and strikes the spider.
Excellent. And it does 5 points damage.
5 points, okay. It is now Drum's turn.
I want to break free. So, yeah, I'm going to try and get out of El Webbio.
Okay, make a strength roll, please.
Oh, that's a good one. 19.
19 is enough. Thankfully, because you were busy talking about how useful Geraldine had been, you had it out, and you used the weight to just free yourself enough that you can move backwards. So you've only used like a foot or so, but you were out of the funnel.
Okay,
But that is your action.
that's fine. I'll move back a wee bit. No, actually, I won't. I'll stick with Eridan until he gets out.
Stick.
Okay.
Yes.
Are we on the web just now?
It is now Edivandron Demadius's turn.
Demadius will draw his knife and will start cutting away at the webbing around Eridan and try and help him to get free.
Okay. As he starts doing that, the spider, you hear this kind of chittering sound, as it's obviously annoyed at being disturbed, and it shoots. It just tucks its abdomen up underneath it, faces you, and it shoots web at. Who was it that was cutting out with a knife? It was Demadius, wasn't it? It shoots the web at Demadius, and he is very quickly enveloped as well. I would like him to make a Dex saving throw, please.
Easy. 16.
He is absolutely clarted in webbing, but has managed to not get joined on with the funnel as it is. The spider comes rushing over, and it covers the distance easily between you. It is now Eridan's turn.
Can I just check before we move on? Is Demadius restrained, or is he still free to move?
Demadius is still free to move.
Right.
Hello, Billy. Hang on. Give me two minutes, guys.
Okay.
Go get a snack.
I'll go and shoot up.
So, how long do you have to stay off work? So,
I can go back next week. Until I'm pregnant.
yeah, I'm not surprised.
It's awful. Our shop was awful before this, so it's just made so much worse.
It's just made it worse, yeah. Dear.
As well, before all this kicked off, I'd been asked to take the manager's job.
All right.
I hadn't made a decision. I don't want to make the decision now.
No, yeah.
The past manager, she's a nightmare. But she just walked out on us a week Wednesday.
Oh. That's,
I have no idea how she's a manager. She's like so much drama outside work, and she was never in work, and just nightmare. But I'm on holiday. Well, we were supposed to be going away to Tembe
all right.
for a few days, but it doesn't look like that'll be happening now.
No.
So
Oh well, that's a
I'll
shame.
still take my holidays. Take all the
Yeah,
time off I can have.
that's yeah, pretty much.
I can have 12 weeks if I want it unpaid because I'm
Oh.
vulnerable.
Oh, true. And the government says they'll pay your wages now as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey.
yeah. Claire's just been sent home from work.
Yeah, my mum's been told today as well that she's not
Yeah.
allowed back to work till the 2nd of June because she's been hospitalised with pneumonia twice in the last
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah, well, she saw the midwives today, and just to see how things are going. And midwife said, "What's your job?" She's like, "Oh, support worker."
I'm
Like,
surprised
yeah.
she wasn't. That's why I said it to you.
Yeah, well, she's been like kept in housing, so she's not been doing outreach
Right,
lately.
okay, that's
but
not
she's
quite
just
as
been
bad.
in,
My
just been in the
mum's,
one,
like,
yeah, just been in the one place. But yeah, they've basically said you can still work, but you can't deal with any of your clients. It's got to be like office work.
Oh.
But there's no work
Oh.
in the office to do, so they just said, yeah, just go home.
Happy birthday to you. Is he gone?
Yeah. But it's a bit awkward saying it means that she's.
How does maternity pay? Does that still start as
Yeah.
normal, or?
Well, they're not quite sure how they're going to do it, so she can self-certify herself after a week, and then she needs to get a doctor's note. But then I don't know how it's going to change what the government's decided to do today.
You don't need a doctor's note though for self-isolating.
Well, I don't know.
Because pregnancy comes under vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
So it said
But
you
they're
didn't need
saying-
a doctor's note.
It's
Yeah,
not
but they were saying she might have to use her annual leave to make up the hours until her maternity leave starts. But I don't know.
I
Oh,
know
that's all.
no.
pregnancy was named in like with the vulnerable groups, and it said you
Yeah.
didn't need. It said you didn't need a sick note.
I'll check up on it. I've not had a chance to actually look through it all yet, but she's been a bit depressed about it because she doesn't like being stuck inside all day. But
I know my mum was crying today when she found out she wasn't allowed to go out to work tonight. She's like, I just want to work.
That's her
yes,
thing. Who?
My mum.
Oh. When I go back to work next week, I'll be working 2 days in the week
Oh really?
because there's not enough work for the whole team to be in.
Yeah.
We're only on emergency duty, you see.
I wish
Well,
I could say that. Ours is
yeah.
only getting more.
So I'll be working Tuesday and Friday and being paid for a whole week.
Oh nice. That's jammy.
Well, it's
I-
nice, but it's unfortunate because there'll be so much restriction when I'm there.
Yeah.
There'll be hardly anybody around, and it'll be okay. But
I know it's like literally one of the worst jobs to be in right now. For like, not the worst, but like the most busiest you'll probably find it in pharmacy just now. Like queues out the door, it's ridiculous.
well, don't envy you.
Hmm?
Don't envy you.
they're not too bad in Sterling. Like they're low on stuff, but there's not like massive queues or anything
Apart
like
from the
that.
Dingwall one was like the Dingwall Boots had a massive queue today
Mm.
because Jade put up a thing on Facebook saying, does anyone want to set up a pharmacy support group? She's like, I need a holiday after this.
Yeah.
It's just,
Oh,
it does make me a bit nervous because it's only like because everyone's self-isolating and going through all this. Pharmacist is a bad diabetic and got other health problems, so she's deciding to take the unpaid 12 weeks to
Yeah.
protect herself. Most of the staff are now all sort of jumped on the self-isolating wagon, so I think we had one front shop member in today, full stop, so they couldn't open the shop. And yeah, there's been just like one member of staff in at a time, and struggling to get pharmacists as well.
The joys of him not being old enough to have his own password for things yet. Right. Where were we?
Spider.
Yeah.
The spider had just chittered its way over after firing a web at Demadius, who had managed to shrug it off. So although he was covered in cobwebs, he wasn't attached to everybody else. It is Eridan. Did Eridan take his go?
No, he was just about to.
Yeah, that'll be where we are then.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just going to try and break out of the webs as well.
He's being helped, so he'll get advantage.
Yeah. 14. Oh, hang on. What's the other one? Yeah, 14.
14 is good enough to wriggle his way out. So he is no longer restrained and can move if he wishes.
Yay. He'll just move back to where the rest of the guys are.
Yeah. Okay, Zilla, it is your go.
Yeah. I will try and hit with my quarterstaff, which is suddenly not as powerful anymore. Not that I could hit before anyway. That is 16.
16 is good enough.
2 damage.
It's a good solid thunk.
I get no bonus, you see.
You're quite happy with that. Back to the top, Erevan.
Erevan. Right. He unleashed an arrow at it last time, didn't he?
Yep.
So he's still got his bow in his hand. I think he's going to do the same again, to be honest. He's in a good position. So he's just going to let loose with another arrow. 15.
15 is a hit.
Oh, good. Oh, nice. 10.
Oh, wow. That's a good solid. The arrow definitely embeds itself.
Cool.
Dran, it is your go.
We'll start charging the nearest spider and wallop it.
There is only one.
Yeah, that'll be the one.
And it is currently looking like it's about to clamp down on Demadius. So, okay, you go charging in with Geraldine.
I'm going to rage this time because I'm really miffed about getting tied up.
One embarrassed rage coming up.
Yeah, so I get yeah, so it just gives me extra melee damage, which is fine. So charge in, and give it a wallop. Ooh, that's good. I wish I could do maths in my head. 22.
22 is a definite hit.
And then 9, 15.
Wow. It is a good solid hit. It is now Damadeus' turn.
Damadeus is going to. Well, he was helping Eridan out of the weapon. So he
Yeah.
has a handy. He's going to resheath his knife. Is the spider in melee combat with Drum?
Well, it's not yet. Drun is in melee combat with the spider, but it hasn't attacked him yet. So
That's fine. So I can get advantage attacking that with his rapier.
yeah,
He's going to close the distance, make his rogue-like attack with the rapier, and try and get some sneak attack damage on it. So, 17.
17 hits.
Cool. And he gets one extra d6, which is 2. 8 altogether.
Okay.
He nips in and slashes at it with his rapier.
It's a really good slice. Because the spider's up in its web, he gets a really good slice in at its kind of abdomen and definitely draws some blood. The spider is enraged by this, and it is going to, let's see, odds it is Drun, and evens it's a revenge bite on Damadeus. Odds it is Drun. The spider tries to drop down and bite you right on the top shoulder where you were swinging.
Let it try.
Rolls 21 to hit.
Yeah, it succeeds. Unfortunately.
And it does 4 piercing damage. But I would like you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
We can do that. Maybe. Well, +5. 13.
13. Where are we? Where did I write it down? 13 is good enough. You take 2 poison damage as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem to impact you.
Okay.
It is now Eridan's turn.
He'll spring to my aid and go charging in with his long sword, double-handed.
Okay.
He's not really had a chance to get his shield out yet. 15.
15 hits. Man, I don't think you guys have missed like twice the entire time. You're rolling well.
He did 10 damage, but what's he hasn't put any modifiers on his attack, on his damage. Quick reminder for long swords, it's you add your strength modifier onto your damage. Is that right? Or is it?
Yeah. It would be strength. The longsword's not versatile, so.
Yeah. So that's 14. So that's max damage.
Yeah. That is more than enough to sort out said spider. So you have completely annihilated this thing. And it, as his longsword slices through it, it crumples in half. And you can easily see that if it had managed to get a good bite on, the fangs as it's dying are just dripping with poison that it was ready to try and sink into you. Congratulations. if you take a rest at some point in the near future, you will all level up to level 2.
Hey. I could do with taking a rest. I'm pretty tired. I'm pretty worn out now.
Level 1 characters, but you took a short rest not long ago. It's up to you, though.
I know. Unless anybody's got any healing abilities.
Time-wise, you've only been moving an hour and a half.
Yeah, I've taken a few big knocks, though, so I'm starting to look a bit...
I can.
I'm okay. The squishy wizard is unhurt.
The fact that you all got out of that without being severely injured is a short miracle in itself. It's a couple of really powerful hits.
I can cast Healing Word on you if you want. No? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
1d4 plus your spellcasting. 7.
Yay, thank you. That's true.
That's not bad, that's almost max.
Yeah, that's not bad at all, thank you. Anthony just reminded me that I have resistance to poison, but I'd forgotten, so we'll just try and remember next time.
It's alright, you would have only taken, half damage, which would have been 1. So
1, yeah, so it doesn't really matter, but I'll
might
try and
matter
remember.
later.
Oh, it's advantage in saving throw, I think.
It's
Is it?
advantage. Yeah, advantage on saves against poison and resistance against poison damage. So
Oh well, we'll see. Yeah, both your rolls were crap.
I'll
so
try and
am
remember
I.
next time.
16. What would you like to do?
What time in the day are we on? I mean, is it?
You are now probably about 5:30 in the evening.
It's going to get dark at some point, and then they're all going to come out.
I think it's dark all the time in here, is it not?
Well, really, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to get dark everywhere else.
How's Niga doing?
Nigo is terrified. She's desperately trying to persuade the horse to turn round, but there just isn't the space.
Yeah. See, when it comes to actually getting one of these things alive and keeping it back, maybe we're going about it the wrong way. Okay? Rather than deciding mid-combat, oh, let's take this one, maybe we should set a trap for one.
Yeah, I was starting to think that as well.
Maybe get an animal of some kind or half orc and use that as bait.
What have you got against this poor girl?
I'm joking about the half orc, of course.
Are you sure? I'm not entirely convinced.
If we could find a dead animal of some kind, or maybe even hunt one down to use it as bait and set our own trap rather than being, this is planning for the future. This is what we need to do right now. Sorry, blinkered.
Well, I don't think right here is the best place to stop just now anyway, so we're going to have to move a bit.
Yeah. Suppose ask Niga if she knows anywhere where we can camp safely in the woods.
Niga tells you that she doesn't tend to come into the woods much, and genuinely has not been in here for months since the spiders started arriving. Even then, they only used to stay close to the edges, where they could drink without getting caught.
Smoke pot. Fair enough. Typical magic student.
So we'll continue a bit.
Yeah, we need to find somewhere safe to rest,
Yeah.
don't we? This isn't safe. Is there any sign of any caves or natural locations, but natural areas of defense.
Is this you thinking this yourself, or are you actively trying to get the group to search for something?
Well, I think we need to discuss it and make a plan. So I'd be suggesting it to the group that we need to find somewhere safe that's defensible.
Okay, roll a survival with advantage then, assuming they're going to help you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proficient in survival, so
Okay. 9.
9. You're not particularly great at this. Your idea of defensible is having a nice peripheral view where you can see things coming. And although you have spent a decent amount of time outside for a wizard, you can't really see anything here. Perhaps if you move on, you might find something a little bit better. This place is just clarted in cobwebs. It's just too hard to find something.
Yeah. Away from cobwebs would be good.
So you have 3 choices. You can keep moving forward, cut through the webbing that you arrived at. You can go back the way you've come, or you can leave the horse and cart and strike off into the woods and hope that you find something before it gets dark.
You leave the horse and cart. You just leave the cart.
yeah, I'm not keen on leaving the path as that much. Yeah, we'll leave the horse. It's going to become lunch. You know.
Is it near sunset yet?
It's hard to tell where you are. You're just right in the middle of the woods.
Okay, well, Ivan is probably getting a little bit agitated just now because he's aware of the fact that the day is coming to the end and he really wants to be able to face the sun when it sets. Just putting that out there. So he's kind of tapping his foot and pacing a little bit. So what do you say, folks? Either go straight on or go back to somewhere that might have been a bit safer before.
I'm reluctant to go back because it just means we're going to have to come back again, but at the same time, it's just going to get worse, isn't it? So.
Yeah. There is another option, and that is we just plough on through the night.
And just be careful.
And be careful and
And
as we can before we have to take it.
I'm happy to keep going.
I suppose we could always set up a tent, rig up a kind of tent on the wagon so we're not on the ground.
Yeah.
And we could rig something up like that. So.
True.
It'd be nice to time to set your trap.
Well, if we could find some bait, we could. But...
Okay. Oh, we just need somebody to venture off into the dark woodland to try and get a small animal. That's all. Niga?
She kind of looks at you, yes?
How are your hunting and trapping skills, my dear?
She just literally looks at you as if you talked undercommon at her. She has no clue what you're trying to get at.
My dear. Nice touch.
Yeah, like some students you just need to talk down to.
Right, so we'll keep going a wee bit then.
Okay, my throat's getting sore. Somebody make a decision for me.
Okay,
Right, it's
we'll
good.
push on. We'll push on for a little bit more, and then we'll do what Sophie said.
Okay. So same order.
Yep.
Yep.
I'll be a bit more on guard this time.
On guard.
You cut your way through the webbing that the giant spider had created. You continue. It's the sort of thing where you're definitely heading towards the center of this, or the epicenter rather. So you suspect you're not going to find anywhere which is completely unaffected if you wish to spend the night. If you want to actively look for somewhere, I will let you roll again now that you've been moving for, say, 25 minutes, half an hour. It's getting towards 6 o'clock. You're starting to lose what dingy light there is. It's not a particularly sunny day, and like I said, you're in the middle of the woods, so it's fairly muted shadows and light anyway. So I will let you roll again if you wish to, James, because you're in the lead.
For survival,
Yeah.
18.
18. You almost dismiss it, but you do see just off. It's a little way away from the path, but not so far that you'd lose it completely. And it looks like a crag or an outcropping of rocks where the trees aren't quite the same. It's the sort of thing you would easily walk past if you weren't paying much attention to. But it looks like it offers the chance for you to go, and it would fit everybody in. You may have to do something about the horse and cart, though.
Okay.
Evan would just like to point out at this point that in the tales of Mord and Canaan, when he was in this sort of situation, he would have just cast a spell to summon a magical sanctuary, which would fit the whole party in with lavish food and drink and cushions and tables and lamps, and even entertainment for the evening while we have our rest.
That
is
sounds.
I was
going to say that sounds wonderful. On you go.
I was going to say, where's Morning Canaan now then?
And I'll be like, one day, my friends, one day.
For the first time this entire time you've known her, Niga's ears kind of prick up at that, and she starts listening quite intently to you.
I make note of this.
Suddenly, he really likes his student.
Right, are you going to go and investigate the rocky outcrop, or are you going to just
Investigate.
leave be?
Can I suggest that Amadeus goes in, because he's good at exploring things and keeping an eye out for tricks and traps and things. He'd be a good person to kind of suss it out.
It's not up to me. I'm not part of the group. But
I'm just,
I can always go with him.
he's sending him on his own, or is someone going with?
oh,
I could go with him.
he's a big boy.
Zilla?
I could
Yeah.
go with him. We're familiar probably with the surroundings, and he would be.
I would say if you go with him, he'll get advantage on his investigation check.
So, let's do it.
You want to roll it, Sophie?
You can roll it.
Investigation. He's +3. Oh, that's good. 17.
17. What looked like a rocky kind of outcropping from the road is actually not quite a natural cave. It's where part of the hill that's there has kind of come away over the years, and a stone and tree have kind of fallen against it, and it makes a really nice kind of natural encampment. At the back, there's no real entryway, not for anything bigger than, say, a large rat to get in, which compared with everything else you've encountered in the woods at the moment, seems to be a much nicer choice. It seems pretty solid and pretty decent. If nothing else, it's warm and dry, and there is no obvious signs that it is inhabited by anything at the moment.
So he's probably going to come out and he's going to be like, looks good. So, what are we going to do about the horse?
Well,
A tree.
we'll tie it to a tree, and then out just outside, and then whoever is watching, who's on shift, will sit with the horse and keep it company.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way
makes sense.
forward.
If you want to take the horse up to the wee cave, then you'll have to detach it from the cart. There's no way the cart's
Yeah.
get.
No, but
But it's easily done before you lose the light and things. So
We could put the cart slightly off the track at the side, sure.
The handbrake's on.
to be fair, they do have them. They're giant pieces of wood, but it's still classed as a handbrake. Yeah.
Because nothing's going to try and eat the cart, but it probably will try and eat the horse. So take the horse with us.
Yeah.
Possibly.
unless there's a huge angry clan of beavers. just roam in the woods, stealing carts.
Just it's gone.
The beaver bandits.
Just a wall of fur. Yeah. So it probably takes you about an hour to disengage the cart. Are you leaving the harness on the cart, or are you dragging that in as well?
Maybe leave it.
I have no strong feelings about this.
It's easy enough to tie up the cart in a way that if somebody was outside of the cave and keeping watch, they'd be able to see it. Assuming you're tying the horse up between the cart and where you are, as opposed to directly in the cave. It's going to be fairly snug, but not so tight you can take the horse in and have a stable at the back. It's not happening.
Yeah, I think that sounds
Yeah, I don't
good.
think we were ever going to take it into the cave. I don't think we were going to attempt that.
If we could see it, though, it would be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Describe to me your setting of camp and whether or not you're going to do a watch.
Definitely do more.
Watch, because we need to watch over the horse at once. Nobody likes to be waken up in the middle of the night by the twittering of giant spiders. Nobody.
I think we're probably going to do something like an hour and a half, 2 hours each.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's
Oh well,
5 of us.
I don't.
so-
Yeah, but we won't count Nika as doing a watch by herself.
Yeah.
I value my life.
You mean you're not going to let the teenager take a watch? Come on.
No, she can accompany someone, but it's just.
She does know magic, She's not completely useless.
And I take the first watch so that I can spend the better part of my magic studies reading my books on modern canon.
Yep.
Okay. We're going to start a fire.
Hmm? What?
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 I'm guessing somebody's TV in the background.
Yeah. Are we gonna set a fire? Keep warm. Is it particularly cold?
It's not particularly cold. It will be cold enough. You'll see your breath. It's not the height of summer. You're heading towards autumn. So
I'm a sturdy.
So you will cope. You won't. You're at a very low risk of hypothermia.
Yeah, because it'll only draw attention to ourselves.
Who's taking second watch? If you go for 4 watches, that should probably take you through a reasonable amount of the night.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. So we've got the first 2.
I can do the next one.
And who gets the sucky last watch then?
Oh, damn it, yes. We'll do it.
Okay. So you settle in. Once you have kind of made it clear you're not planning on lighting a fire, Niga volunteers. She says she knows a spell that she learned when she went to the academy, which would help cast some lights if you want it. And she shows you. She picks up a little rock and whispers a wee cantrip, and it starts glowing. Which is the first thing you've seen her do that actually proves that she goes to magic school. But she seems to be, if not petrified anymore, at least kind of warming to the fact that her survival is tied to your survival.
Yeah.
So, and she is very intent. Whenever Erevan starts talking about Mordenkainen, she definitely listens in with that enthusiasm that can only be reserved for someone that really, really wants to do magic but isn't so keen yet on all the reading part of it. But a good story is a good story.
Yeah. Cool. Oh well.
So you may not have an acolyte quite yet, but you definitely have yourself a small shadow while you're camped.
Yeah.
So,
Fair enough.
I say small, she's a half-orc, so, you know.
Well, while I'm on the first watch, if she's still up and about, I can tell her some more stories of Mordenkainen and sort of tell her, the things that he could do are things that she can aim to do in the future. If she just, does a little bit more reading, just takes her time, studies.
If you just fill in this form and make a sizable donation.
Just a little bit of encouragement, but not too condescending.
You know that she is absolutely intent to listen, but despite herself, she starts to yawn, and literally within about half an hour, she is just curled up and fast asleep. The experience of being frightened for most of a day, on top of a hangover, has just been too much for her, and she's out cold.
Yeah, it's been an exciting day.
But it wasn't for lack of interest. Okay. I would like you all to roll a d20 for me.
10.
11.
13.
Demadius gets 9.
Funnily
Aaron.
enough,
Eridan rolled an 8.
an 8. Okay. Which watch was Eridan going to get?
He wasn't on watch.
Yeah.
Oh,
He gets a rather uncomfortable night's sleep.
lucky sod.
But as Demarius is on watch, the rest of you have fallen asleep. There has been a lot of chittering and chattering, and you've pretty sure at least twice somebody's heard the flutter of an owl hunting and spiders being torn and screeching, which is quite unsettling, but not enough to stop you actually trying to sleep. I would like Demadius to roll a perception check for me, please.
Okay. His perception is. God, I should know where this is. Oh, he's +4. Natural 20, so that's a 24.
Nice. He starts to see like a glow, and he can't quite decide what it is, but it's close enough to the horse rather, that it gets his attention. It seems to blink. 1 minute it's there, and the next it's not. He is pretty much about to dismiss it when it blinks back on again, and whatever it is, it seems to be getting much closer to the horse. It's been drawn by the stamping of the horse and the noise as it kind of just naturally ruffles itself and tries to make itself comfortable tied to the tree. What would he like to do?
Okay, well,
I'm so glad he's last watched.
Demadius is not unintelligent. He's got good intelligence. So he would be aware that something was amiss, and I think he would very, very quietly try and wake the rest of the party. And that is the whole point of a watchman. And he would try and do that stealthily and quietly, and kind of just without instilling panic.
Easily enough done. You're almost in a line inside the kind of crag. It's wide enough that you've probably got two people sleeping, curled around each other as you go back into the recesses. So it's easily enough done. What would you like to do? The party is now awake, with a little bit of pointing. When everybody first comes out, there is just pitch black. There's nothing happening, other than the slight change of light as dawn is definitely approaching. But just as you're all about to give up and go back in, you wait literally 1 minute, 2 minutes. It gets to that 3-4 minute thing where you're about to just tell him he's definitely just going bug-eyed, and you see it again. It's just it almost looks like a lantern. It's not the same glow as a lantern. It's like a white kind of glow, and if it wasn't for the cobwebs reflecting the light, you probably wouldn't catch it at all. But it seems to be really close to the horse now. It's about coming up 10 feet away from the horse, and it's coming from the back of the horse. The horse hasn't noticed.
Well, we need to save the horse, or whatever it is, or at least investigate whatever it is. Somebody's going to have to go out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably think, again, Demadius might be the ideal choice. Because he's sneaky. Well, let's have Demadius sneak out and get close to the horse, but stay on the far side of the horse from the approach of the light, and just see if he can get a better view of what's happening here. How far away? About 10 feet, 20 feet?
It depends. I'd say if you're only 30 or 40 feet away from the main track, then the horse would be half that. So yeah, 15, 20 feet. So.
Okay, he's going to try and do that then in a stealthy manner.
Roll for stealth.
For stealth, he is +7.
Wow. That's right, Kev rolled insane.
That's 19.
I will do a small roll of my own. But he sneaks up and sneaks up and sneaks up. The odd thing about it is as he gets closer to it, Demadius still can't put a shape to it. there doesn't seem to be anything holding the light. It seems to be the light itself, and it's like just a ball, maybe about the size of a honeydew melon, and it just seems to be like floating. And most of the time it is completely invisible, but it just blinks back into existence and then disappears again. Now it's close to the horse. It is light. He will have a surprise round if he chooses to do something.
Well, it's just like a ball of light.
Yeah.
I think he might want to pick up a stone and throw it at it. See if it makes any reaction.
Okay.
Or is it a natural phenomenon? Or does it have some kind of intelligence?
Natural.
Yeah, it's just ball lightning. Without the rain or the thunderstorm.
If there's like a small stone handy, then I think he would pick that up.
In the rough terrain you're at, near a rocky crag, yeah, there'll be plenty of stones you can find. And you've got advantage on the throw, so throw to hit.
Right.
Throw stone.
Okay, so I've got a choice of a 1 or a 17. And the 17 will be +5, so 22.
It absolutely hits, and it is corporal. It does definitely do some damage. So roll, let's see, improvised weapon. So it'll be a D4.
1.
He gets a really good solid crack. The wee blinking light changes trajectory as it gets hit by the stone, and it just slinks out.
Right. Straight after doing that, he would also like to blink out back into his hiding position.
Okay. He's already moved something, so roll again.
Yeah. 21.
He hides as best as he can, and he waits, and he does that thing where he shallows his breathing, so he's not actually misting up the air. As far as he knows, he's pretty used to not being seen, and he waits, and he waits. And then just out the corner of his eye off to the right, he sees a little blink, but it seems to be further away from him. I'm assuming, does he do anything or does he stay quiet?
He would. At this point, he really wants to get information from the forest dwellers, like Zilla and Erevan. So he's thinking that he might want to sneak back towards them and try and put it to them and see if they have any knowledge of this.
Do one more stealth check for him on his way back.
Okay. 24.
Wow. As he's going back, whatever it is, was discouraged enough. It seems to have gone, or at least is either invisible or was drifting off away from the horse again. But whatever it is, didn't notice that it was him that threw the rock that hit it. So he gets back in plenty of anything happening. I'm assuming there's a discussion then about what kind of thing could be in the woods. So you woodland experts can either roll individually or you can roll one person with advantage. Because there's Zilla and yourself.
Yeah. And would it be nature?
Nature, yeah.
Someone else would be better rolling that.
Yeah, I've got some points on
I'll
that.
give you advantage, but
Okay. Come on. Highest is 4. In total.
I should have rolled. I knew it. No, I'm joking.
You should have rolled, Soph. Yeah, the
I'm gonna roll
discussion
just for
was,
fun. See what I'm gonna go. 14, which is better.
without anybody else having seen it properly, you're not 100% sure what it was. But as long as it's not bothering the horse or you lot, it doesn't seem to be too much of a big deal, and probably best not to make too much noise. You're all tired. You're so close to having had a decent long rest, but you just want to go back to sleep and get the last 2 to 4 hours worth of sleep without being bothered. Yeah, you forest dwellers pretty much think it's a big fuss over nothing.
Right. Yeah. It's just one of those floating lights. That's all.
Yeah.
You know. They come, they go.
We will give you 2 choices. You can go back to sleep and regain long rest and level up, in which case we will call for tonight. Or you can carry on, but you will not have the advantages of having reset from a good, restful, long night's sleep.
Well, personally, speaking for myself, I'd be quite happy for a long rest in real life. so I would
Finish long rest.
take the long rest and level up. But on the other hand, it's just that's all. It's, you know. But if you guys want to carry on, I don't mind ducking out at this point and just letting you two play on.
We're at a natural pause, so it makes sense to stop now if you want to. And to be honest, you'll get the long rest, which is worthwhile just to level up. But it's your call.
Long rest.
Okay, that's 2 in favour.
Well, I feel it's silly that we found a good spot to see us through the night, and then we just decide to not complete our long rest. Let's just get up.
You know. We'll be even more bad next time.
You will.
Yeah. That last 2 hours is crucial.
Yeah.
Sleep.
It really is. There's nothing worse than getting up after being disturbed. Yeah, the whole day is off.
Yeah. Like, you have to get up at 7 and you wake up at 5 and you can't get back to sleep. And you just...
Yeah.
You know it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done, guys. There's a couple of ways that some of those encounters could have gone, and you've managed to get through them pretty unscathed, I have to say.
Completely unscathed.
Yeah.
I was really nervous about the giant spider, because if that thing had really caught somebody, it would have been like insta-kill.
No, that seemed like a really big, tough giant spider. Like, bigger than the...
Yeah.
Don't know if that was...
The ones before had been more impacted. Out of game, it's the difference that the magic is having on different things in the woods.
Yeah. Well, that was good.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Dave.
Glad you went ahead.
I like D&D too much to not want to play.
Yeah.
As long as there's people that can cover the characters, it's worthwhile doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. It's interesting to see what you're going to do next session, because I know what's coming up. But...
That's good.
Which is a good sign, yeah. So thanks, folks. Stay safe.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.